Welcome back to the Just for Clicks podcast. I'm your host, Forrest, and we are doing just groovy over here. Been working on these mouths for the past week or so. I did this video for Pete. It's an epic rap battle, and I should have just been doing the mouths the entire time, but I always push off all the boring stuff until the very end. So now I'm just sitting here every day, rotating mouths and assigning them to the proper spot on the face, and I'm actually using a really cool new technique with this video. It's a lot more phonetically synced than it has been in the past. Typically for the Lego Batman videos, I just kind of do what I call like a flappy mouth, where there's a large open mouth, there's a halfway open mouth, and then there's just the standard Lego face mouth, which is just there automatically. So it's really simple, and I feel like doing phonetics can sometimes be distracting, especially when they're not very satisfying looking, but thankfully my bud Gus Denko, he runs the channel On Beat Man. You might have heard of him. He does a lot of like Lego brick filmer tutorials and whatnot, and he released this Lego mouth pack, this asset pack on his Patreon. You can go to his Patreon and sign up. It's like $4 a month, I think. And you can download these mouths yourself, and they're on green screen and they're pre-made and they're really well done. Like, he replicated the way the Lego printing process looks. You know, it's kind of faded. The edges are kind of janky. The printing isn't perfect. You know, there's grain, or I mean, I don't know if he added grain, but I added my own grain. So it matches the grain in the video. And then I've just been meticulously using like selective color to really fine tune the blacks and especially the whites to match the eyeballs of the characters. Because when you look at the eyes of the characters that are actually photographed, you can match the blacks and the whites of those eyes. Is any of this making any sense? I don't know. Sometimes I'm rambling on about the technical stuff, and I'm like, does anyone want to hear this? Anyway, let's get on to the podcast, okay? What we're going to do right up top is go to Twitter and just check out, you know how I do. Drug maker AstraZeneca pauses COVID-19 vaccine trials for routine checks due to potentially unexplained illness during tests. Yeah, that's sketchy as fuck. I mean, I will take a vaccine if I have to, if it's required by somewhere I need to go work. Like if I need to go work at Stupid Buddy and they're requiring all the animators to take vaccines, then I will, but I'm not going to be happy about it. If I can avoid the vaccine, I definitely will, because I trust my body's immune system and I'm not scared of getting the COVID-19. Obviously, I would like to not get it, but so far so good. Yeah, so that's sketchy. Vaccines freak me out. I'm definitely going to get my kid vaccinated, but I'm not happy about it. Let's see. California wildfires, record heat wave, fuels fires and forces more evacuations. Damn. Yeah, it's been super hot here in Los Angeles. Just brutal. I don't think I've ever felt it this hot before. So that sucks. Ice Cube is trending. I wonder what he said. Become a lord today like Lord Ice Cube. Ice Cube is selling lordship in Scotland. Okay, this is going nowhere. I'm so sorry, guys. All right, let's move on to the things I've been confronted by this week. We'll do that, and then we're going to move on to the hot takes and the emails. So yeah, the things I've been confronted by this week. I was watching Joe Rogan, and I hate watching Joe Rogan, but I do it all the time. I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't stand the way he like interviews people. He has really great guests on, and a lot of times I really enjoy the guests, but I just think he's like just ridiculous. But he had Miley Cyrus on, and she was super crazy. Watching that interview, I feel like I regressed in my anxiety and the amount of anxiety that I've overcome in the past several years. I feel like it set me back like 2 or 3 years. She was just going a mile a minute, and she was talking about all sorts of crazy shit. I just feel like when you get to a certain level of fame, you can't even be like a real person anymore. Even at like small levels of fame, it's just not healthy for the human mind, because people don't treat you like a person anymore. It just becomes so self-absorbed. Instead of talking about music or something interesting, the entire time they just talked about her like mental health, I guess. So that was bizarre. And she was talking about how she was in this failed marriage or whatever, and now she's feeling like she's like addicted to love. And I feel like this is like this like new kind of idea that people are like, yeah, I don't need no man. I don't need a woman to be happy. I don't need anyone to be happy. I need to be happy with just me. And while it is true that you should like yourself and you should love yourself, it is very natural for us to crave love and attention and companionship through life. That's just in our biology. So to claim that you have a love addiction and to make it sound strange or messed up that you require love is just bizarre and totally backwards. I wish I could have been there to like tell her that. It's like I wanted to like shake her like, Miley, it's okay. Like, it's okay to want people to love you. I just hope, like, you know, some of my listeners, I hope no one thinks that like it makes you weak to want to have companionship and a partner through this life. I mean, this life's hard enough. We don't need to go through it alone. It's like, what's the point of life? You know, the point of life is to find a partner and procreate and have babies and enjoy each other's company in the little time that we have. So yeah, don't be afraid to find love and don't be afraid to need someone. Okay. Secondly, another thing I've been confronted by this week was the whole John Boyega / Ray Fisher situation. And if you don't know, John Boyega did this like slam piece on Disney, which I think is well deserved. Honestly, he did this interview where he said the movie's really focused on Rey and Kylo, you know, the two white leads, and all the other kind of people of color were pushed to the side. I think that's definitely true. I mean, they made this big promise of making Finn this really cool character, this like stormtrooper who defects, and it could have been really awesome. This really big promise that, you know, he was going to be force sensitive and all this stuff, and they just never paid it off, and his character was reduced to Ray. And I think it's tough, you know, being a actor to just have to say this like shit dialogue, because obviously you know it's bad, and like you're forced to turn yourself into a cringe fest. So I definitely agree with him. I mean, I don't know if I don't think it was like intentionally, like because they're, you know, different colors or different ethnicities that they were favored, but, you know, it could have been subconsciously. You know, the Kylo and Rey story was the one that seemed to be working, and I think they kind of just leaned into that. Disney really should have just had a plan from the get-go about what they were going to do. That's just JJ's whole thing. You know, when you hire JJ, he doesn't know how to end a story. He doesn't start a story knowing the ending. He just keeps creating these mystery boxes and mystery boxes. If you don't know, he's talked about it in the past. He's like, yeah, just create a story with a lot of questions. And even if you don't know the questions, just keep making more questions, and people will eventually forget about all the questions that you set up in the past. It's just a really horrible way to tell a story. And yeah, he admits he's really bad at endings. Rise of Skywalker was just terrible. I mean, I still love the movie. I still like own it on YouTube and on Blu-ray and on my Xbox. I mean, I still like I've seen the movie several times, and I still really enjoy it just due to the sheer artistry and the music and the actors. And I love Kylo and Rey. I think they're amazing. But everything surrounding like the plot and like the way the breakneck, literally like break your neck pacing of the film is just exhausting. And JJ, I don't know what kind of uppers he's taking, but he needs to start taking some downers, because he's off his rocker with the directing in that movie. But yeah, then also like Ray Fisher, if you don't know, he plays Cyborg in the horrible failure Justice League that came out a couple years ago. And he came out saying a bunch of stuff about how there was abuse on the set of Justice League after Joss Whedon took over. Like, he's a big, like, release the Snyder cut kind of Zack Snyder fan guy who wanted to see the original movie come out. Now, if you don't know, Zack's coming out with this Justice League cut, which is going to be this 4-hour mini-series. And, oh, God, it's just going to be so horrible. I mean, like, Zack just cannot direct a DC movie to save his life. Like, he is fundamentally just doesn't understand the characters whatsoever. Man of Steel was god-awful. I think that's probably the best one he's done, but then he did Batman v Superman, and that was just shockingly bad. And then Justice League was just this hodgepodge of reshoots and trouble behind the scenes. So it is cool that he's going to be able to finish his movie and release it in this Snyder cut. I mean, I'm definitely going to watch it, don't get me wrong, but I'm not happy about it. Will it be better than Justice League? I mean, who's to say? But Zack's been making all these crazy tweets saying, you know, his movie's for grown-ups and that movie's for little kids. And I feel like when you have to say that, it just makes you look really immature. And that's just Zack's whole MO. Yeah, Ray Fisher came out with a statement saying that, you know, Joss Whedon was abusive on the set and he was enabled by Jeff Johns and some other producer. And basically, like, you know, calling out all these producers and saying that like you have to be accountable for your actions, but he's not listing the actual abuse that occurred. As far as I can tell, he said that someone made vague threats to his career, which is like, it could be as innocuous as saying, hey, you know, if you speak out against this movie, it's going to be bad for all of us. The movie's not going to perform well. Or it could have been as insidious as saying, I know a lot of people in the industry and they're all going to be asking me about how you performed and if you followed orders and what do you want me to tell them? You know, it could have been really mean and really spiteful and rude, or it could have been really chill and he just took it the wrong way. And the thing is with actors, I don't trust actors. They're drama queens. This guy came from Broadway, I'm pretty sure. He's like a trained actor. So you know he's a dramatic motherfucker. So he's going to react poorly to his script suggestions being shot down. Apparently he came to the producers with all these suggestions about his character and how he wants Cyborg to be the the main character of the movie and everything. And they were like, no. So he's definitely got a bone to pick with them. And everyone is jumping on board on Twitter, having his back and being like, hashtag I stand with Ray Fisher. And no one even knows what these producers are being accused of. Like literally, like hasn't been any accusations. Until they're accused of an actual crime, I don't care. Like directors are allowed to be assholes. Like, should you be an asshole? No. Is Joss Whedon probably an asshole? For sure. I mean, he cheated on his wife and she blasted him all over the internet about it. He doesn't seem like a cool guy, but that doesn't mean there was abuse on set. Like, was there sexual harassment? Like, what happened, you know? So it's just kind of like everyone's falling in line to support Ray Fisher on what exactly, and no one really knows. I put out a series of tweets about it, and no one could really give me any kind of real evidence of any wrongdoing. So I guess only time will tell what will go on with that whole situation. But just annoying. I hate actors, man. They're just like the worst people. I can't wait until they're all replaced by robots in the future. That'll be awesome. All right, let's move on to the hot takes. I put out the call for some hot takes on Twitter, and you guys came hard with some of these hot takes. So let's get into it. Jim is the worst. Oh, this is from Laughing Lego Productions. He says, Jim is the worst character on The Office. Parks and Rec over The Office. Poe is the best part of the sequel trilogy. Cats over dogs. Oh, there's a lot going on here. Okay, this is too much, dude. Yeah, I would say Jim was one of my favorite characters on The Office, but I definitely liked Parks and Rec more than The Office. I followed that show a lot closer. Poe is the best part of the sequel trilogy. He's really good. I would say Kylo and Rey are the best part. Cats over dogs. No, they're about the same. Black Panther movie is overrated. No, it's really good. Lord of the Rings is the best trilogy ever. Maybe. No, it's got to be the Dark Knight series. Mabel is the worst in Gravity Falls. Never saw it. Up is the best Pixar movie. Nah, Toy Story's got to be better than Up. I feel like, yeah, have they ever topped Toy Story? Toy Story is just so classic. I think the second one is my favorite Pixar movie. I just love the adventure in that one. All right, we got another hot take from Pappuccino. Some schools encourage bullying. Some schools encourage bullying. Some schools encourage God damn it, by not taking it seriously or by employing faculty who don't give a fuck. They even allow struggling students, academically or mentally, to get bullied. It's a literal survival of the fittest atmosphere. Yeah, totally agree. I despise public school. That's why I won't be sending my child to public school, because of this exact type of shit. I don't want her to be in a school shooting situation. I don't want her to be a school shooter. I just don't want her to be involved in anything to do with this horrible government-run system of public schools. No way. I'm going to homeschool her like I was homeschooled. My wife and I are going to make sure she learns everything she needs to learn. They don't even teach you good stuff in school in the first place. So what's the point? All right, let's see. The desire to be seen as incredibly grown up and mature in order to be taken seriously is inherently childish and immature. That's from Pencil Tip Workshop. Yeah, completely agree. I think we just touched on that with Zack Snyder and all his ridiculous tweets about how grown up and mature the Justice League movie he's making is. It's not Zack. Let's see. Samuel Burt says religion is mass brainwashing, but isn't necessarily a bad thing if done right. Disagree. I think religion is a bad thing in all cases. It's almost like a band-aid to fix the problem. Is that a good analogy? Religion is it's a tricky subject because it's so deeply ingrained in our culture. It's part of us as people, and people have such strong personal ties to religion that they can't separate it from themselves. You know, it is part of them. So when you insult a religion, it's like you're insulting so many people. But I'm not a fan of any religion. I don't think anyone should be religious. I think we should all decide what is right and what is wrong based on our own personal beliefs and not let a book tell us how to live. I think it's lazy. Isn't necessarily a bad thing if done right. If done right. Yeah, I mean, if I started a religion and it was a really lit religion and everyone followed it, I still think it would be bad because people would be following it for the wrong reasons. It's just lazy. I used the analogy of a Band-Aid earlier, but a Band-Aid is kind of like for a wound that will eventually heal. This is more like duct tape. It's like instead of actually fixing the crack in the wall, you just put duct tape over it and then it just looks like shit and no one ever actually goes and fixes the problem. Don't be religious. It's not good for anyone. All right. Let's see. Is that it for the hot takes? Yeah, I'll do more. I got a lot of hot takes, so I'll do more of these next time. Let's move on to the emails, huh? We got an email from Pablo. He says, Filmmaking Advice. Hello, Forrest. Needless to say that I am a huge fan of your work. I'd really admire how different your projects are. You go from live action to brick film to action figure stop motion, and I think that's really exciting. Sorry, got too excited. My name is Pablo, and I'm writing you from Spain at 4 a.m. I am an 18-year-old filmmaker, and I can honestly say that I love filmmaking with all my heart. It's a huge part of who I've become. Anyway, the reason I wanted to ask you for advice is because in 4 hours, I'll start production on my 5th live action short film. This is really good English, by the way. Good job, Pablo. We're taking precautions and all. That's not a problem. The characters wear masks. That's smart. And because I am so excited and nervous about it, I just can't sleep. I was wondering if you can relate to this problem at all, and if so, how could I overcome it? Eating and jerking off didn't cut it this time, and I really don't know what to do. Thanks, Forrest. I really hope you and your wife are doing well during these tough times, and I hope everything goes well with Luna. Oh, what a lovely email. Thanks so much, Pablo, for writing in. That warmed my heart. Yeah, I definitely get excited before the day of a big shoot. I haven't done a live action shoot in over a year, but my main focus is generally animation, and you don't have to get too excited for that kind of stuff. It's a pretty slow, tedious process that you kind of just, I'm so used to it, I kind of just do it. When I do plan a live action shoot, it is very nerve-wracking, and a lot of times I can't sleep the night before because I'm so excited, and then I'm exhausted throughout the shoot. But that's all part of the fun. I mean, I think you just kind of have to embrace that. It's super exciting, and you're just going to have to work through the pain. It's cool that you're making this movie where all the characters wear masks. I think that's a neat idea. Just try to maybe exercise like the night before so you're tired, so you have more of an incentive to fall asleep. I think you're going to be okay, though. I don't think this is that big of a problem. I think you'll overcome it. Thanks for writing in, Pablo. Here we go. Next question. Nathaniel writes, Hi, Forrest. I'm doing pretty well in life right now, so I choose to direct the question towards your life. I was wondering what your plans are for the future. What would you like your professional career to look like? Surely you aspire to something more than YouTube videos. That's an interesting question because for a long time, I did aspire to do something more than YouTube videos. And then as I got older, I started to realize that there's a lot of stuff on YouTube that's way better than the stuff that Hollywood is putting out. And a lot of times it's getting way more views and way more attention on the internet than it ever would in a theatrical release. So I feel like that whole cultural perception has shifted, and I respect online content just as much as I respect theatrical content. The only reason I want to make a movie and have it screened in a theater is just because I would love to see the movie blown up on a big screen. That's really the only reason. I'm just as excited to make stuff for the internet, really, at this point. And I just am looking to collaborate with people in the future who I really respect and continue to improve my craft. I feel like with every video I make, I get better and better, and it becomes easier and easier. So I'm constantly learning new techniques and trying to push myself. Something I want to get into in the future is potentially doing more CGI, kind of computer-generated animation. I definitely like the tactile feeling of hand-drawn and stop motion, but I think throwing some CG elements in there and being more adept at that kind of thing would benefit my career and just make me even more versatile. Same goes with music. I would love to learn an instrument and maybe write a musical one day, but those are all things that are kind of, further down the road. I've got a lot of projects planned that I have still yet to produce. So I've got my work cut out for me, and I've got a lot of great people I can collaborate with on, like my composer Zhao, and I've got people who can do CGI work for me now, like Gus or Christopher Gearhart. So I'm doing pretty well. You don't have to learn everything yourself. Once you have enough collaborators, you can, reach out to them and utilize their help. I mean, of course, they cost money, and it'd be great if you could do everything yourself. But, at a certain point, you do need to collab with people because things will take a million years to come out if you do every single thing yourself. And it's good to trust people. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with my career. I'm just kind of more chill about it these days. I kind of used to think like, oh, I have to write a movie and I have to direct a movie by the time I'm 30 or I'm going to be a failure or whatever. And that's just not really how I think anymore. It's a lot more chill. I'm really satisfied with the work I'm doing, and I'm really satisfied with how my career has gone so far. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and I'm really excited to produce the scripts that I have saved up. So I'm just focusing on that and the birth of my child, which she's going to be born in December. So that's going to be taking a lot of my attention. So, of course, I still have to work on the videos and make money and work on the channel, but I'm also just kind of excited for my own personal life as well. So there's other things outside of my career. All right. Last email from Brickboy Studios. He says, need some advice about mental health and managing emotions. Hey, Forrest, I'm a huge fan. I've been watching you since I was like 5 or 6, and I'm from the Philippines, and my name is Buko. It's pronounced Boo, then Ko. And before I say anything, I also have a channel, and I was wondering if it was okay to shout me out. It's called Brickboy Studios 06. Thank you. Anyway, back to the point. I've been having a hard time controlling my emotions because I have a lot of schoolwork, and my girlfriend and I have been going through rough shit because we had a fight. And then she said that we were done. And then once I finally accepted this fact that we were done, then a few seconds later, she came crawling back, and it really pissed me off. And I've also been very stressed lately because of school, and I've been trying to hide my emotions by distracting myself. I've been doing my animations, playing guitar, exercising, video games. But then today, as in when I'm typing this, I had an emotional breakdown, and I felt lost, and I was hoping you could help me out. Okay, Buko, that's awesome. Sounds like you're a pretty cool guy. You got this girlfriend who, is willing to put up with you, and you're into animation, and, you exercise, you play guitar. I mean, what's not to like? You sound like a cool guy. Try not to stress too much. You're doing just fine. I would say with the whole girlfriend situation, just be strong for her, be concrete. If you say something, do it. Make decisions that are your decisions, and then stick with those decisions. You don't want to be a flip-flopper. Girls are going to have lots of emotions. We all have lots of emotions, but someone has to be solid in the relationship. So be a solid person that she can rely on. And yeah, it's really up to you if you want to be with her or not. If she's too much, then you're going to have to leave her and move on and find someone who's a little more stable. But if you feel like she's worth the investment, then talk to her about that and tell her this is how it's going to be. Keep doing your animations, keep working on your school and your guitar and exercising. You're doing just fine, man. I mean, everyone's going to have wild emotions one day. You just have to learn ways that will benefit it. Breathing exercises can help, and exercising, just take those emotions out on your body. I feel like that helps me. When I am feeling really emotional, I'll go out on a run and just really push myself hard. And by the time I'm done with it, I'm just too exhausted to be emotional anymore. So I think that helps a lot. Thanks for writing in. I think this will do it for this podcast. If anybody has any questions or concerns or just general controversy, please email me, justforclickspod@gmail.com. There you can write me, tell me about all your life problems, and I will give you my 2 cents. Also, tweet me your hot takes @ForrestFire101. And thanks for listening to the podcast. I will check in with you guys next week.